This is Anne Butler, the Book Griffin, and welcome to the podcast. Those of us who read women's fiction or romantic novels will be familiar with the plot device or trope of the main character with an injury that has left them with significant scars, or who have had a limb amputated, or they're deaf, or they're blind, and so on. I talked about this trope a few episodes ago, and I focused on the story The Flowers from the Storm to illustrate the point. 9 times out of 10, it's the man in the story who has one of the injuries that I've just described, as illustrated in Flowers from the Storm. There's probably a conversation to be had about that ratio, but that's for another podcast, another time. In this episode, I want to talk about stories where it is the woman who has a long-term or permanent injury or diagnosis that affects them physically. There are a couple of stories, a couple of novels that I will focus on. And the first is a novel called Hazard, which was published in 2002 and was written by the late Jo Beverley. It's an historical romance, and the main characters are Anne, Lady Anne, and Race de Vere, a so-called commoner. Anne has a limp which she's had since childhood. I don't remember if the cause of her limp was ever explained, but she has a limp, and as a consequence, she's having problems finding a husband. Her parents, her friends are worried that she's going to become an old maid. And that's pretty much the thread throughout the story, one of the threads through the story. She's already been jilted twice and is a figure of pity out there in society. If this is making you bristle, please bear in mind the time in which this story is set and the context. This is an historical novel after all, and Jo Beverley wrote for the attitudes of the time, or what we believe the attitudes were at that time. Anyway, Race de Vere is introduced to Anne's family at around the time that she finds out that the latest person she had expected to propose to her has now gone off and married someone else. She is silently raging. She's not heartbroken. What she is pissed off and humiliated. And then along comes Race. What's curious about his character, to me anyway, is that the theme seems to be he is as much as Anne can expect. He's described as slender and without substance, and he has no so-called social connections. None of the things that should have made him a good catch as far as people in Anne's sphere of society are concerned. She's, after all, Lady Anne, and he is a commoner. There's more to their relationship than that, and this is revealed throughout the story, and revealed in such a way that makes it really enjoyable, even though, for my money, it's not Jo Beverley's best work. If you look at the story through a 2020s lens, the fact that Anne limps is not controversial. It's the time in which the story is set that gives this any traction. Much more challenging, in my opinion, is, and I'm bringing us into contemporary times, the next story that I will talk about. The title is Pretender to the Throne, and the author is Maisey Yates. The story was published in 2014. In Pretender to the Throne, the main female character is called Lena. Lena is a famous society beauty, engaged to the heir to a fictional throne. The heir abdicates, he disappears. He doesn't want the responsibility of the throne or of marrying the person he has been told to marry, regardless of how he feels about her. And so he goes off, he disappears, and triggers civil unrest in his fictional kingdom. His young fiancée is targeted during this unrest. She is attacked and she is left with dreadful, dreadful scars. This being a modern tale, the bile and trolling piled onto Lena is amplified via social media. There are lots of photos of before and after, and it becomes too much for her and she retreats from the world for her own good. All this is told in flashback. Fast forward a number of years, and this is where the story begins. The prince comes back to his kingdom. He has been out there, he's had his fun, he's shagged around. He now decides that there's more to life and he needs to pick up the mantle of his responsibilities. His name is Xander. And I am about to reveal a little bit of a spoiler. So if you don't want to hear the spoiler, then skip about 20 seconds ahead. And skip about 20 seconds ahead if you don't want to hear the spoiler. Right, so Xander decides to come back to his kingdom. Somehow, and suspend disbelief, he is oblivious to what has happened to Lena, and he comes back and finds that she has changed. He finds out just how changed she is. However, what I liked about this story is that once Xander has got over his shock at how much Lena has changed, although I still think he's an absolute shit, I like the fact that he was not repulsed by her. He's not repulsed by her because he remembers her of old. Her cheeky, snarky personality is still there. And the fact that he really liked her back then, he likes her still. All the reasons why he liked her, they're still there. He used to fancy her, and now he's open to seeing whether he could fancy her again. The other reason I like this story is because it's written by Maisey Yates, and I'm a Maisey Yates fan, so it was a kind of an easy win. I like her writing style. Are there any stories that you have read, stories that you have come across, whether they're women's fiction, romances, where the female protagonist, the main female character, has some kind of physical issue that she has to overcome or that she is successful in spite of? Leave me some titles in the comments, and or if you were able to leave links, that's good also. Thanks for listening. This is Anne Butler, the Book Griffin. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this episode and follow me here for notification of new episodes. You can also follow me on Instagram or TikTok by searching for The Book Griffin. Credit to Alex Kazenkov for the intro. The track is called Stomp 145521.